Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Goldmaking, presented by darkshorecapital, on this, the 28th day of January in the year 2019. The market update for this week is as follows. We have very little price movement in the WoW tokens across both regions. Pretty much to be expected. There's not a whole lot of exciting stuff going on. Slight bump on the US side from perhaps some new interest in the new raid. Not too excited about that. Looks like the anchorweed price being up 72%, as well as midnight salmon up 71%. Certainly indicative of a new raid tier coming out. No surprises there. T-Boost sword seems to be down. US up EU. Not really sure what to make of that one. Might be looking into replacing the old BOEs that we have on this market update, since we have new BOEs out with the new raid. We'll have to just see about that. And in the old world stuff, not really too much to be concerned about. We'll talk about Spirits of Harmony in just a moment. I will note that I do have a price down there for an AOTC. That is actually for last tiers for the AOTC for Gahoon in Uldir. That's the price I paid for mine, so I figured I'd put it down there just so you guys know. Let's get on to the news. First piece of news. Obviously, the series has been taking a bit of a break, but we're back. I've always said and told myself that in order to do this series and to do this gold making stuff, it had to be something that I really wanted to put my heart and soul into. And I just didn't for a while, but now we're back. So, hello everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Next piece of news, obviously a new raid has come out. Lots of new exciting stuff with that. Alchemy, potions, raid stuff, raid consumables. Obviously all that stuff is going to be pretty profitable if you prepare properly for it. If you didn't prepare for it, then, there's probably still gold to be made, but maybe just not as much. I will point out there are some new TSM import strings for the new raid BOEs, courtesy of the illustrious Bilis Onyxia. I've got a link for you here on the slides, or it'll be down in the video description. Yeah, please check that out. BOE flipping, as many of you know, is a prime source of income for myself, and I'm sure many of you. So, yeah, might as well take advantage of those sweet, sweet TSM strings. Last piece of news, I don't really know if this qualifies as news, but I'm going to qualify this as news. Botting. Question mark. So, obviously botting happens in World of Warcraft from time to time, and the thing that I typically look to determine if botting is occurring are the prices of Ghost Iron Ore and Spirits of Harmony. I have an alert set up through TSM. Actually, I believe it's through the Undermine Journal. Sorry, I think you can do them both through TSM and the Undermine Journal. Mine's through TSM. Anyway, anytime the price of Ghost Iron Ore falls below 4 gold on my main crafting server, I get an email. Now, why 4 gold? That's just the price I picked for something reasonable for Ghost Iron Ore for me. And boy, oh boy, over the past couple months, I've been getting so many of those alerts after getting almost none. Which typically means that the price has actually come down quite a bit. And on my server, yeah, it's hovering around 4 gold, which is pretty great. Pretty happy about that. But that usually means that increased supply is coming from some sort of illicit nature. Who am I to say? I don't really know. All I know is it's cheap Ghost Iron. And I like that quite a lot. The other thing that kind of goes hand in hand with that is Spirit of Harmony. I know there's a lot of botting, particularly places where automated farms can generate lots of Spirit of Harmony. Pretty much anywhere in Pandaland drops them, and I believe the Isle of Thunder, not the Isle of Thunder, sorry, the Timeless Isle, the other kind of endgame open world place from Mists of Pandaria, drops a significant amount of Spirits of Harmony. I know plenty of multi-boxers use the Frog Farm to just farm up lots of Spirits of Harmony, and, that's great. So, but, it's kind of funny, any place that's good for multi-boxing is probably going to be good for botting as well. That's just sort of the nature of the game. Anyway, no opinions one way or another, but just thought we'd throw that out there, see if you guys had any thoughts on the botting. Did you notice anything else that seems to have its price drastically changed as a result of some potentially suspicious behavior? Speaking of suspicious behavior, actually this isn't suspicious whatsoever. This is completely in line with everything that I've always talked about with Sky Golems. So this is a regional daily summary of the price of Sky Golem over the past, past couple of years or so. And you'll notice 2 large increases. One around August 30th, one around August 14th, 2016, 2018, respectively. What could possibly have happened on those days? Well, of course, we've got them listed right here for you. Legion release date, Battle for Azeroth release date. There's typically a big surge in interest in farming herbs around expansion releases. My assessment of the situation is that there's players returning to play the new expansion, and they want gold, and farming is a very simple and easy, straightforward to understand way to make gold. And it's actually incredibly profitable because there's an incredibly low supply of herbs at the beginning of an expansion because, well, it just came out and there's none there. So they sell for really high prices. And the demand is there because guilds want to do the new raid. And in order to do the new raid optimally, you need consumables. So all these things kind of come together to increase the price of all the things related with gathering herbs, including sky golems. So there you go. There's kind of your evidence for why I always say to hold some sky golems in the few months before a new expansion release. My personal take on it is like roughly maybe 6 months or so out is when I start stockpiling, but to each their own. I think there's actually a larger discussion to be had around whether to sell or hold on to sky golems at different periods in time relative to expansion releases. I typically favor just having liquid gold from them towards, not close to the expansion release, because I'd rather do other things with that gold. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about sky golems. What do you think is the proper time to start stockpiling? You're going to start stockpiling now for the next expansion, whenever that is. We don't even have an announcement yet. It's probably a year and a half away. But hey, you could have a ton of sky golems by then if you really churn them out. So I don't know. What do you think? Next little bit of a feature that I have for you today. I've got this is, I don't know, just a quote, I guess. Every day, I mourn every day for Trade Skill Master 3, but dwelling on the past is poor gold per hour. It's no secret. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of things in the new Trade Skill. I want to be specific here. A lot of things in the Trade Skill. There are a lot of things that are very good about the newest iteration of Trade Skill Master, but as I've started to use it more and more, man, there's some shortcomings. And I'll probably be writing up a more detailed list and making sure it gets to the right spots so that the development team has my feedback in the appropriate manner. But I feel like discussing it because I think this actually gets to a bit of a broader point that goes beyond just some guy on YouTube griping about an add-on that doesn't do what he wants it to do anymore. The point here really is your tools are just tools. At the end of the day, we're here to make gold. And however you need to set yourself up to make the gold, you do that. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look pretty. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have the button in the place where you're used to it. That's the thing about humans. We adapt, we improvise, and we overcome. And just because they changed your favorite add-on doesn't mean you have any excuse to not be making gold. I mean that. And I've been working very hard to embrace this because, man, it is hard. TSM3 was great. I really do love it, but it's no excuse. So get out there, bite the bullet. TSM4 is still vastly superior to literally anything else you could possibly do. It's an amazing add-on. I have the utmost respect for the development team. You guys are seriously amazing if any of you are listening. Thank you so much. I really do think that you've created just a massive amount of content for so many people in this game. And with the current state of things in the game, that's a big deal because, I don't know, we all love World of Warcraft, right? At least I do. So thank you. And I will continue to provide as much useful and constructive feedback on Trade Skill Master 4 as possible. Let's get into some questions. First question. Is now a good time to come back to WoW if my interest is gold making? Yes, it's always a good time to come back to WoW. It's always a good time to make gold. Heck yeah, do it. Next question. Are there any decent liquid gold farms left? I'm sure many of you are aware of, I don't know if you'd call it a farm, but a source of liquid gold from an old raid from Wrath of the Lich King, which is yielding a pretty substantial amount of liquid gold. The Uldir hard mode exploit, is it an exploit? I don't know. If you're just clearing Uldir, sorry, Ulduar, not Uldir. Yeah. I went in and did Ulduar the other day on my shaman because I was like looking in the inventory. I was like, oh hey, remember that legendary item that I kind of want to get? Let's go run Ulduar, get a couple of the Valinir fragments, blah, 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 and like lo and behold, the dudes around Freya dropped 700 gold. Okay. So there you go. I don't know. It'll probably get hotfixed eventually, but there's plenty of good videos on how to optimize this farm if you really want to get into that. I believe I'm not quite sure the right adjective. I really like Archvilder quite a bit. He makes some fantastic videos. Should check out his channel. He's got a video about it. That's where I first learned about it. I think Ryan Reckles, Want to Buy Gold, just made one as well. So there you go. There's all that information there. Go check it out. Search him on YouTube. Next question. How are you doing compared to Legion? Doing pretty good. I've got a fun little YouTube series that I do every week when I'm being diligent about it. Making some gold with some interesting stuff. Not raiding as much this time around, which, well, it's probably better for my overall IRL health, but I do kind of miss it. The new raid, I did a little bit of it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Might try to do a little bit more of Battle for Dazar lore as opposed to Uldir. And lastly, we have a question. Vanilla herb farming? I'm assuming this question was asking what vanilla herbs are worth farming. In which case, off the top of my head, this was literally just off the top of my head, I know that Wildvine, Black Lotus, and Ghost mushrooms are ones, probably the only ones really worth farming. Wildvine is incredibly rare. When I did actually go and do a test of farming it out with an herbalist that I had at the time, I think I got 1 in an hour's worth of farming. The reason for this is it's a random drop chance off of Purple Lotus nodes, and I believe it's Purple Lotus. Yes, fairly certain about that one. Whatever spawns a lot in Fellwood. Yeah, they have a very, very low drop rate. As you can see, the price for them, Wildvine, okay, current 714, mean 1,500. This is on Proudmoore, I believe. Yeah, those are definitely worth farming. Well, I don't know if they're worth farming, but they're very valuable. Black Lotus, used for some vanilla flasks, which are useful for some things. The Flask of Supreme Power, for example, is used for crafting the Sage Blade, which is a vanilla transmog item. I think the Strength Flask is also used for a transmog item as well. Just a quick note, Arthas's Tears and Dragon's Teeth, I'm fairly certain, are no longer in the game, which is why their price is so high. So they're just collector's items. We'll talk about collector's items sometime on the show and just that whole paradigm. But yeah, pretty much anything else is probably really not worth farming because I can't really think of a good use for them. Like Dreamfoil and Dreamfoil and Mountain Silver Sage are also used for flasks, but they're just so plentiful, and like as you can see, the prices are so cheap. It's really not worth it to go and like farm them specifically because like the demand is just not there. Anyway, I digress. The point is, there's not a lot of demand for vanilla herbs because, like, who's using them? Like, why are they even being used? They're not, like, some very niche transmog situations, and that's pretty much what I've listed. Ghost mushrooms turn into an oil, which I believe is also used for a transmog item. So, yeah, anything that's related to somehow transmog is your answer. And that's going to wrap it up for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for watching, and it's good to be back. Hopefully we'll get some more interesting content coming in the next weeks. And until then, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. You can reach out to me on Twitter at darkshorecap is my handle. Or if you have a question you'd like to ask via email, darkshorecapital@gmail.com is where you can send those inquiries. Until next time, I'll see you.